I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like I'm in the middle of so many book series right now. And I thought it'd be fun to go through all the book series that I've started and I don't want to continue, that I've started and I'm currently in the middle of but I do want to continue. And then also book series that I haven't started yet but I really, really want to. Because I feel like since I've really started getting into reading, I have so many book series that I've started and not finished, or that I'm currently in the middle of. So let's talk about them. I thought we'd start off with all the book series that I'm currently in the middle of that I will definitely be continuing and I definitely want to finish. Literally, where do we even start? I think the most obvious one to start with is the Magnolia Parks Universe series. There are currently 5 books in this series altogether, and just in case you don't know anything about this series, it's basically like a Gossip Girl style book series that's set in London. And this series is actually unlike any other series that I've read because we have the Magnolia Parks books, but then we also have the Daisy Hates books, and these two actually follow the same timeline. So we read the Magnolia one first, and then when we start the Daisy one, this one actually starts at the start of this one timeline wise, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's the only series that I've actually read that does that. And the Magnolia books have both Magnolia and BJ's perspective, and then the Daisy Hates book have Daisy, Julian Hates, who's her older brother, and Christian as well, who's her love interest. And I just think it's so interesting how the series is done, and it's part of the reason why I absolutely love it. So far we have 5 books in total. We have 3 Magnolia ones and 2 Daisy Hates, and I believe that there's 2 more Daisy Hates books to come, which I'm so excited about. And I also saw the other day that there might be a prequel following Magnolia and BJ when they're at boarding school, and I just think I might never recover from that if that happens. And that is something that I desperately need in my life. I would love that. I would literally love that. But this series is my all-time favourite series and I would definitely be continuing. I literally could not read the rest of these books. Similar to Magnolia Parks, the other series that I absolutely rave about is the Powerless trilogy. In this one we have Powerless, we have Powerful, which is a little novella, and then we also have Reckless, which has recently come out. And I believe that there's going to be another novella, and then I think Fearless, which is the last one in the trilogy, is going to come out. I think it's next April, which I literally can't believe we have to wait that long. But hopefully we'll get another novella in between because I would just absolutely love that. I just absolutely adore every single one of these books. I absolutely love the characters. I love Payne and Kai, and I would literally read anything with those 2 characters in. And if you've read these books, you'll know that they tend to end on kind of a cliffhanger, and the ending just makes you want to go straight into the next book. So I will definitely be continuing the series when the next books come out. I'm also so intrigued to know who the novella is going to be about, because this novella follows Adina, who is Payden's best friend, and it's set during the same time as Powerless. But I'm just so intrigued to see who the other novella is going to be about, because there isn't really anybody that stands out to me right now. If I try and think about it, there isn't really anybody obvious to me. I don't know, but I absolutely love the series, and I think it's a great series if you want to get into fantasy because it's so easy to understand and the world building isn't intimidating at all, and it's all really, really easy to understand. I would say that this is definitely heavier on the romance side of things than the fantasy, so it's a really nice little series if you're wanting to get into fantasy. And then we have the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've read the first 3 in the series. I don't actually own the 4th one yet. The 4th one's called Bad Blood, and that's the 4th and final one, which I'm going to be so sad when this series is over. I absolutely love this series. It's very much Criminal Minds young adult version. It follows these exceptional teenagers that work for the FBI and help them solve cases, so it's very Criminal Minds coded, and that's what I absolutely love about it. And I will definitely be finishing the series. I just keep putting it off because I literally don't want it to be done. And the thought of having no more books in the series to read just makes me so sad. So I literally haven't even bought the 4th one yet because that's how sad I'm gonna be. But at the same time, I will definitely be buying it soon because I really want to read it while this is very much in my head and I remember what happened in every single one of these books, because I feel like as time goes on and as I read more books, it's not going to be as fresh in my mind. So I will definitely be buying the 4th one soon, but I literally can't recommend the series enough. I think this series is especially good if you don't know what you're in the mood to read. If you're a mood reader and you just want something really fast paced and you're not sure kind of what genre you're in the mood for, I feel like that's when I always reach for these books. And it's one of those series that I forget how much I love it until I'm back in that world and I'm like, why did I wait so long? And I'm sure I'll be saying that exact thing when I finally order the 4th one and finally read it. I'll be thinking, why didn't I read this sooner? This is definitely a series that I will be finishing. And then we have the Maple Hill series by Hannah Gray. So this one consists of Icebreaker and Wildfire, and I'm definitely going to be continuing the series because Daydream is coming out at the end of this month and I'm I can't even tell you how excited I am for that book. I feel like it's going to be so good. The thing that I absolutely love about this whole series is that it's just so fun. It's just such a little fun and flirty series, and that's what I absolutely love about it. I also like that every single one of these characters does feel very thought out in terms of what they're struggling with and what they're dealing with day to day. And I feel like there are topics mentioned in here and represented that just make every single one of these characters feel real and feel relatable, and that's what I really like. So for this series, it's an interconnected standalone series, so you can read any of these by themselves, but it all kind of follows the same friendship group, and each book focuses on somebody different in this friendship group. So we have Icebreaker, which is the first one. This one is set on the university campus, and then this one is set in the summer holidays. So it's all while they're studying at uni, but it goes back and forth between the uni campus and set in the summer. So this one's uni campus, this one's summer, and then the third one, Daydream, will be back on the uni campus, which I'm so excited for. The reason that I think I'm gonna absolutely love this is because the main girl, I think her name's Callie, is a book girly. And I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to read that. And it's also a romance between her and Henry. And I feel like if you've read these two, we've literally all been waiting for Henry's book. And I'm just so intrigued to see what their dynamic and their relationship is like. And like I said, it's just so much fun. This whole series is just so much fun. And I'm really excited for the third one. And then we have one more series that I definitely am continuing. I do have some maybes, and then we'll move on to the series that I won't be continuing. The last series that I will be continuing is the Chestnut Springs series. This is by Elsie Silver, and this series has 5 books in total, and this again is another interconnected standalone, so you can read each of these individually. I would recommend reading them in order just because you get characters introduced throughout, and then when it comes to their book focus on them, it just makes it so much more exciting. So I've only currently read the first 2 in this series. So we have Flawless, which focuses on Rhett and Summer, and then we have Heartless, which follows Rhett's brother and Summer's best friend. And I feel like it's about time that I actually read the third one, because I keep going on about the fact that I'm so excited for it. It's my most anticipated read in this series. The next one is Powerless, and it focuses on Jasper. And literally every time Jasper is mentioned in these books, I'm like, I need to read his book. I need it. I just keep putting it off, and I don't really know why, but I do definitely need to read that soon. The thing I also absolutely love about this series is that each book has a different book trope in it. So for Flawless, we have Opposites Attract, and we have Forced Proximity. I'd say they're kind of the main ones. And then Heartless, we have the age gap trope, there's Grumpy Sunshine in here as well, and there's also the single dad trope. But every single one of these books in the series focuses on a different trope, which I love because I just feel like there's something for everybody then. And the next book in the series, Powerless, one of the reasons why I think I'm going to love it is because it's got one of my favourite tropes in, which is childhood friends to lovers. And just knowing the tropes that are coming up, I just get so excited for them. So I'll definitely be continuing this series, and I literally have all the other books in this series already. And similar to the Maple Hill series, I just feel like this is a good time. It's just so much fun with all the cowboys on the ranch in this little small town. I just love it. It's just such a good time. And then I've started 2 series that I've read the first book of, and I'm kind of unsure on whether I want to continue them or not. I just have mixed feelings about them, which I will explain. But they're a series that I'm not completely ruling out. So the first one might be a bit of a surprise. That's Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. The reason that I'm so iffy about continuing the series is because I really enjoy the characters in this series. I really, really like them. And if you've read the first one, you'll know that how it ends, you just want to go into the second one straight away. And part of me does want to pick up Keeping 13 and give that a go. But the thing is with these books is that I really, really like the characters, and I feel like the characters are very well written. But the actual book itself is so long. It's so chunky, and it doesn't need to be, and I think that's what I find kind of frustrating about it, is that I found when I was reading this there were so many repeated scenes, literally whole scenes that were just a replica of each other, and I just feel like it didn't need to be as long as it was, and that's what's kind of put me off carrying on with the series, because they are literally all this chunky pretty much. So I'm kind of in 2 minds about it, because I feel like I'm not done, especially with Shannon and Johnny, because I literally haven't finished their story because I haven't picked up Keeping 13. But at the same time, I kind of feel like the second one is also going to be quite repetitive, and that's the thing that I couldn't really get on with in this one. So I'm very unsure about this one. I think for now I'm probably going to leave it, but it is one that I could come back to at a later date. But we'll see. We'll see, maybe I can be convinced. And then the other one that I'm unsure on is the Off Ice series. This is Collide, which is the first one in the series. And I didn't like this one as much as I thought I was going to, and that's kind of why I'm unsure. I think I could kind of be convinced to pick up the next one in the series, just depending on the tropes that are in it and also the sport and what the characters kind of seem like. I think I could probably be convinced, but I don't get the same feeling with this series as I do with, say, the Maple Hill series. So that's kind of why I'm unsure. But we'll see, because I don't actually know what the second one is going to be. see. I don't know whether it's been announced yet or not. And I also feel like if I'm in a sports romance kind of mood, then I could potentially pick up the second one when it comes out. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, moving on to the book series that I've started, but I won't be continuing. I actually have quite a few for this one. The first one we have is The Family Upstairs by Liza. This one is borderline a maybe, just because I was kind of surprised that I really didn't get on with this one, because I do really like Liza's books, and I feel like I could maybe be convinced to read The Family Remains, which is the sequel to this one, but I feel like I probably wouldn't opt to read that right now, and that's purely because I didn't really care enough about the characters in here to then go on to read the second one. I just didn't absolutely love the vibe of this one. I didn't really like the plot that much, and I just didn't find it as gripping as her other books. So that's why I've just never reached for The Family Remains. And I feel like even if I was to pick that up now, I would be kind of confused, because this book in itself kind of confused me. And I feel like I've forgotten a lot of what happened in here. So to then go into the sequel, I think I'd just be confused. All around confused. And then we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This one's going to be kind of controversial because I know how much this book is absolutely loved, and I can completely see why it is. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't really like either of the characters in here. I found that I was just cringing through the entire thing. Some parts of this book really, really annoyed me in terms of the plot, and some of the twists that we kind of took felt very kind of half-hearted. And overall, I just really didn't get on with it. I just didn't get on with it. And I was so sad about it because I genuinely thought this was going to be my new favourite book. I had that feeling that I was going to absolutely love it, and I was way off. And this one I've seen, I don't know whether they're spin-offs or whether they're part of the same series. I feel like they might be standalone, interconnected type books, I think. But I've seen one that follows Travis. I think it's literally called Travis. And then there's another one in the series as well. I just don't think this series as a whole would be for me, so I'm not going to continue this one. This feels like a bit of a throwback. But then we have The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I feel like this was one of the OG BookTok books. I read this probably like 2 years ago now, and I just didn't get on with it. I didn't really like the cozy mystery kind of vibe. I felt like it was kind of boring at times, and not a lot was actually happening, especially considering this is a thriller mystery book. I feel like you'd expect the plot to have a lot of stuff going on, but it just wasn't for me. And I didn't really feel connected to the characters either, and this one just doesn't make me want to read more of those characters, and I believe that the rest of the series does follow the same group of characters, I think. And then we have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is actually one that I read recently, featured in my most recent reading vlog that went up, so if you want to see all my thoughts throughout the book, I will leave a link to that down below. I really wanted to love this one, I really did. I just kind of think maybe the way that Tessa Bailey writes her characters, men especially, just maybe isn't for me. I just kind of found it quite cringy, and I just really struggle to connect with the characters that she writes in general. And I believe that there's 2 more in the series. I think one of them's called Hook, Line and Sinker, which follows her sister, and then I think the other one is just following the sisters in general. But I just feel like this was kind of too predictable and a bit cliche, and I feel like that's fine if the book is then really fun and you're having a good time reading it, because I do feel like a lot of romances are cliche and predictable, but I just feel like because I didn't really connect to the characters, and because I found that I was very much cringing throughout, it just didn't connect with me in the same way, and it just meant that I wasn't having the best time, which makes me really sad because I know this one got so much hype, especially on BookTok. I feel like everybody was raving about it for a time, but again, just wasn't for me. And then last but not least, we have the Twisted series. I feel like I talk about Twisted Love quite a lot, and just how I didn't really like the main guy character in here, and I didn't like how possessive he was and kind of controlling, and I didn't really connect with the girl character either. So just all in all, this just wasn't my kind of book. I've just realised I have so many more series that I've started. I literally can't believe that I forgot about these. Okay, where was I? This reminded me because there's another Anna Huang series that I started, and I really didn't like the first book, which I'll move on to in a second. But while I was reading this one, I'd already bought Twisted Games, and this is the second one in the Twisted series. This is the only 2 books that I own from this series. But I read Twisted Love, and then I read the first one in the other series, which I will come to. And I'm currently reading Twisted Games. I'm currently reading this for the reading vlog that I mentioned earlier, so I will have finished it in that vlog, which will already be up, which is really weird saying that timing wise because I'm currently just over halfway through, but by the time this goes up I'll have already finished it. Which is weird to think. I've been so thrown off by this book because I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time reading this, and that's really throwing me off of this whole series because I'm like, I don't know how I feel now. I don't know whether I want to continue it or not. I will say that I am only halfway through and a lot could change in half a book, I feel like. So we will see how I feel at the end of it. You'll probably see if you've seen my reading vlog. But right now, as it stands, I'm conflicted about the series as a whole. I will say that Anna Huang's writing is very, very readable and enjoyable to read, and it's very easy and fast paced, and I do really like that. I think it's purely her characters that I don't personally get on with. That's very much the case for this one. It's nothing to do with her writing, it's literally just I don't really like the characters in here. But this one definitely proves that because I've literally sped through the half of this book that I've already read, and I really like the characters in this one so far. So that's why I'm kind of split. I feel like at some point maybe I will buy the other two in the series. But right now, I do want to focus more on the series that I want to get into. We'll see when I finish this one, but conflicted. Okay, for the books that I literally forgot about, we have If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang. This is the other series that I was talking about. This is the If Love series. I really didn't like this book. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the tropes that were in here. Don't even get me started. I genuinely don't know how you can come back from this book. I genuinely don't. Obviously, I haven't read the rest of the series, so I can't speak for the rest of it, and I don't know how they're going to turn it around, to be honest. But for me, this was enough to say, no thank you. No thank you. And then we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, another really popular book talk series. This one, again, I really didn't like Knox as a character. Very possessive, very controlling. Some of the things he was saying I thought were a bit strange, and I just couldn't get on board with it. I couldn't. And every single book in this series is quite chunky, and that's what puts me off even trying the others. I also tried to read another Lucy Score book recently, and I just couldn't get on with that one either. I actually ended up DNFing it. So I don't know what it is about her books. I think maybe they're just not for me. I don't know, I've not written them off completely, but I think for now, this series I'm not really interested in continuing. And then the last one we have is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This is another book that I really thought I was gonna love because it has a lot of the elements of a romance that I really, really like, but it just didn't hit the way that I thought it was going to, and I really didn't connect with the characters. And I found some parts of this I was just cringing, and that's just really not what you want in a romance. I don't know, I honestly don't know what it is. I just didn't connect to it at all, and I really, really thought that I was going to. Okay, now moving on to book series that I really want to start and I really want to get into. These are all the ones that are currently on my TBR, and I'm genuinely so excited about every single one of these. The first one, we have the Part of Your World series by Abby Jimenez. I currently only have the first and the third one. I still need to get Yours Truly, which is the second one, but I really wanted to read the first one before I buy that one. I'm so excited to see what Abby Jimenez's writing is like. I'm so excited. I feel like it's going to be really good. I feel like it's going to be something I connect with, and I keep seeing so much hype about this whole series, and it just makes me really excited to get into it. I do think that Yours Truly is going to be the one that I really, really like. I have heard quite a lot that it's better if you read it in order, so that's what I want to do. I'm just so excited about this. I'm so excited to finally read an Abby Jimenez book because I feel like I've seen so much hype about them in general, and I need to know what all the hype is about. I need to experience it for myself. And then we have The Catch by Amy Lee. I don't know if this is Amy Lee or Amy Leah, but this one, when I bought this one, I didn't actually realise it was part of a series. I think it's an interconnected standalone, so I can just read this one by itself. But if I really, really like this one, then I think I'll want to go and get the other ones. This one I really want to read soon because it's giving real summer vibes. I don't know what it is about it, but I believe that this one has the fake dating trope in as well, which we love. We love. And it's a little small town romance. Fisherman meets fashion influencer. Should be interesting. And then one that I'm kind of nervous about is Things I Wanted to Say by Monica Murphy. This is the first one in the Lancaster Prep series. I didn't realise how thick this book was, but it is chunky. The reason that I wanted to start this one is because I saw so much hype about A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime, which I think is the second one in the series, but I really wanted to read it from the start, and I'm yet to get around to it because it's honestly so chunky. How many pages is this? 640. 640 pages. That's crazy. Especially for a romance. That is crazy. But we'll see how I get on with this one. I have heard mixed reviews about the series in general. And then we have Mile High by Liz Tomford, which is the first one in the Windy City series. And I'm so excited to just see what the series is about. I feel like it's getting so much hype recently, and I keep meaning to pick this one up. It's literally just because it's so thick that it's just putting me off. But I have heard a lot that it will just fly by. And fly by. That's silly. But also recently, I keep hearing so much that people don't really like the first one and that they like the second one and the third one, but they don't really like this one. What's that about? That makes me even more nervous going into this because I thought people loved this one. But maybe I will, who knows. This whole series is a sports romance and each book focuses on a different sport, and this one is hockey, which is one of my favourite sports to read about in a sports romance. I don't know why, but it is. So we'll see how I get on with this one. And then we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I really want to start this one when I finish The Naturals because I just feel like the Naturals series is going to leave a hole in my heart. So I bought this one so I can start this, another Jennifer Lynn Barnes series, when I finish that one. And I'm really excited to have another little fun YA series, and this honestly sounds like nothing I've read before, so I'm excited for that. Puzzles and plot twists, we love. I feel like I'm really going to get on with this series. I just have a good feeling about it. And then we have fantasy series left. The first one that I really want to read at some point is Akatar. I feel like that's a rite of passage at this rate. And then also Throne of Glass. Again, I just feel like I'm going to really enjoy that series. I just think I need to be in the right mindset to read it, and also both of those series feel like such a commitment. So when I'm ready I'll pick them up. But then we also have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I think this is a duology and I've literally heard nothing but great things about this, so I'm really excited. I'm a bit nervous just because I think this is more fantasy heavy than I've read so far, but at the same time that does also make me really excited just to see what it's like. And then last but not least we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Again, this series has so much hype. So much hype. I have heard really mixed things about Iron Flame, which is the second one, but I haven't even read the first one yet and I feel like I need to, and I'm really hoping to read this one soon. I love the little dragon in the middle. But yeah, I'm really intrigued. This is definitely one of my most anticipated reads on my entire TBR right now. So we'll see. We'll see. And that is every single series that I've started and I'm not continuing, that I've started and I definitely am, and that I haven't started yet but I definitely want to. If you've made it this far in the video, please let me know what your favourite book series is, and I'm genuinely so excited to start these book series that are on my TBR right now. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will hopefully see you in my next one.